Alright, so game one is just starting here between Dekzeh and Welliou, or Wellow, or whoever you pronounce his name. I don't know. I'm catching it live. I wanted to catch it live because it just means I can really take my time to analyze the game better rather than just, reporting what I see verbatim, which is kind of what you get from replays. And it's really difficult to kind of get an insight into the players' heads when you're not watching the game unfolding the same way it does in actuality. So this is way better. I'm going to see a jolt on jolt lead here. So this is probably two offenses fighting each other, two spike offenses probably. Okay, so Dekzeh's got a jolt lax. I was expecting some fairly unorthodox stuff from him, some fairly kind of, I guess, I don't know what you call it, quirky stuff maybe, but yeah, he's not disappointing. So we haven't seen much from Welliou. He just revealed T-Wave, so he's trying to catch deck there. Wasn't afraid to sub at all. Probably doesn't expect to see that at tournament level. It's only really seen on ladder. Not that sub Jolteon is terrible, but it's kind of a ladder. Its existence is kind of relegated to ladder. So Jolt does have Baton Pass here, so Dekzeh knows two of the important moves on Jolt. The last two moves are usually pretty arbitrary. T-Wave, beat Baton Pass. So now he knows what both of them are. Now he knows that the other two attacks are probably T-Bolt, HP, whatever. So the full Jolteon set is kind of revealed, bar the hidden power. Welliou probably looking to pivot here. No variant of Mens really likes sitting in on Lax from 100% without sand up, so he's probably just using Mens as a pivot, and he goes back to Skarm. And Dekzeh very intelligently goes to Jolteon on that. Now, if he has T-Wave, it seems pretty free to go for it right here. You could be very ballsy if you were Welliou and stay in, but yeah, okay. So we're going to see Cursed Jolteon here from Dekzeh. That's really, really cool. That's a vape. I don't know if Vape Kuno tested it a lot. I don't know whose tech it is originally, but it's interesting because Jolt actually has a pretty high speed stat, even at -1, so it outspeeds a lot of things still. He's going to get T-Waved here, though, and he does reveal that he has Lumberry. So Lax is going to come in here now at +1/+1. And we know this Lax has Focus Punch, so it will actually be clocking Skarmory from here. If Jolt stays in, it's getting killed in one shot. So he is prompted to switch out here, irrespective of what Dekzeh goes for. Goes for an EQ there, predicting. Don't know what he was predicting. That was kind of a big. Yeah, that was a big prediction. Either way, I feel like Lax can just fire off Focus Punches. Dekzeh is actually just going to use it as bait Lax and get rid of Skarm. He's happy to exchange it for one layer on his own side. He kind of does have two special pivots here. Lax is like a special sponge, and then Jolteon is like a special pivot you use on offense. So the Lax can actually be used like that. It's very easy to use it like that. It going down is not the end of the world, basically, because you do have other resists. So now Dekzeh finally does get powered. He is going to stay on the T-Wave this time. He's not going to dance around it all day. But for the most part, a powered Jolteon is usually pretty useless. It's kind of a toss out. Its speed is one of its main, I suppose, selling points, and with its speed hindered like that, it's pretty useless for the most part. We're gonna see what Mens set this is here, which is important. I would actually wager it's a mixed Mens, and he was just using that as an excuse to get an Intimidate off. Mens probably doesn't even know Code Jolt here, but then again, Jolt may not even have a HP Ice or even a hidden power at all, because it's Curse. Well, I don't know, does Curse run? Not sure what the set is. Probably does have a hidden power, actually. Yeah, so Mens might not even stay in here. That may have just been a little ploy just to get an Intimidate off. The last for Welliou could easily be a known last, which is like Starmie, Metagross, T-Tar, but it could also have a mag somewhere, or something else. But I would wager I'd be playing as if it has Starmie, Meta, T-Tar, because that's the kind of relatively well-known composition that kind of is being resembled here. That's the way I would play. I would play as if it's Metagross, T-Tar, Starmie last, but you don't know. You never know with these guys. With every advancing move for Dekzeh, it feels like he's just getting more and more quirky with his teams. First it's Curse Jolt, then it's Bait Lax, then it's Regirock. It's so difficult to narrate his games because he's so wild. It's unlike anything you've seen before. Does just go for the slide there. Metagross is the fourth here, and that's very unfortunate for Dekzeh, I suppose. I'm not sure how much CB, that was definitely CB mash, by the way, but I'm not sure how much it was doing. But like, it was probably doing most of Reggie's health, so that Reggie would have been pretty kind of out of action anyway. But yeah, it's hard to know what to make of that turn. So Mence does come out here, adding to an extra Intimidate. There's no way Dekzeh was going to be able to go for a slide there, predicting the Mence. It would have been too catastrophic if Meta did stay in, which means it was an easy excuse for Welliou to get the Intimidate off. However, he seems to have overlooked the fact that Reggie does have Clear Body, so he's actually not getting the Intimidate off, and instead he's just giving Reggie a free turn here because there's no way Mence is staying in on a slide. I don't know how much Reggie does, but I'd wager that's Mix Man, so it doesn't even do that much. HP Grass comes out, 41, eats 90, 93 back, so I don't know if that was a worthwhile trade. 93% just to get that HP Grass off, and now Reggie actually is getting lefties back. Does it even die to pump here? It might not. And again, it's got Boom, Explosion, so it can come back in at any point on, say, Jolt or Mence and just fire off a Boom and get a KO. So it's yeah, that didn't seem to be worth it for Welliou, that little exchange. Starmie has now taken 58 as well, so it's within range of EQ of a lot of things. Starmie being at 100 is usually pretty important. Lives things like +1 DD Mence at 100, so its health is definitely a relevant factor. I would wager again that the last is Tar on Welliou's team, and it's interesting that he brought it versus Dekzeh, because I'm pretty sure that Dekzeh brought that exact same composition with a sub-punch Tar, sub-punch like Boa style Tar, back in like SBL 6 or something, like years ago, donkeys years ago. Again, the Dekzeh has only revealed 3 Mons at this point, as opposed to 5 from Welliou, and he definitely got the better end of the little exchange there with Regirock. Dex is probably wondering what he wants to pivot to here. Losing Lax means that he doesn't really switch into me anymore, and this is a very free Hydro. It's going to clock whatever it hits on Dex's team. He's probably debating whether or not he wants to stay in, or whether or not he wants to just, say, sack Jolt and then bring something in that beats this. Dex's timer's kind of running down now, so I think he's a little bit unsure what to do around me. When he was building this team, I think he may have overlooked the significance of Lax booming, of bait laxing, because now he just doesn't seem to have a switch into me at all. Starmie here is going to be able to really it's going to be really oppressive versus Dekzeh, put it that way. He doesn't seem to have a comfortable switch in, and he's taken 120 seconds so far contemplating this turn 16. does go to Tar here, so it seems as though he's going to sack Tar. Does just sack a 100% T-Tar, so that was probably a physical variant, maybe. Hard to really know. But now he's going Skarm here, so Dekzeh looks to be in very murky waters. I'm not sure how much Jolt takes from Hydro after a spike, but Dekzeh hasn't gone out to it, he's gone straight out to Skarmory. And if Skarmory is your way of beating Starmie, then you're in a very kind of... You're definitely clutching at straws a bit. He does have some form of offensive Skarmory. It might very well be YOLO Skarm. It does just lose 91% of its health, but the Starmie, the big threat in Starmie is out of the game, so that's very important for Dekzeh. Mance is going to be a problem though, and without the spike, Dekzeh is in a really rough spot. Sorry, with the spike, he's in a really rough spot. Yeah, that Regirock is going to be really kind of... I think Metagross is going to be a pain, because so far CB meta OHKOs everything on the team right now. So Dekzeh's last is going to be very dependent on... how he does in this game is going to be very dependent on what his last is. He's got this really weird, janky kind of bulky TSS style team. Never seen anything like it before. Mence does just take out the Skarm there, so that Skarm was pretty much fodder at this point anyway. So we do see Reggie come out again. The Metagross switch seems so obvious. And so I wonder, does Dek want to give that up? Alternatively, what Welliou could do is just HB Grass into the Regirock, and then, you know, if Mence ever went down, you could just go Jolt after. But he's comfortable that the Dekzeh wouldn't have gone for anything other than Slide, so he stays in. So he switches out to Metagross. Now he does get a crit there, 31, so Meta's now down to 56. He's no longer the rock resist that he once was, but saying that, he's almost definitely faster than Reggie here. Reggie has a very slow base speed, and CB Mash will be killing Jolt from here despite that miss. The next one should do it, I think. I forget the rolls, but CB Mash hits like a truck, so I think it should do it, honestly. Don't remember though. The big danger for Welliou is that if it doesn't, and then say Welliou had gone to Jolt then on the other Jolt in fear of like a T-Wave or something, that Dek might be able to get a curse off and then really do some damage. But Mash did its job. It hits like a truck, and it seems, to be honest, as if Dekzeh does not really have a switch in to Metagross anymore. He does have Agilogross here, which is going to be that's completely changed the course of this game. If the last is a bulky Tar with Fire Blast, Dekzeh should, Welliou should have an out versus this. But right now, as we speak, there is absolutely nothing on Welliou's team that can beat Agilogross here. Now, is it gaining lefties? It's not gaining lefties, so it could easily be Lum, and if it's, it could easily be Laichi. And if this meta is Laichi, then he can sub down to it, and he'll actually OHKO the Tar that could come in here. Now, I'm not sure it is Tar last, but it probably is. Most likely is. So this could be really bad news bears for Welliou. 23 turns in here. Agilogross looks to be very oppressive, very dangerous. This kind of really shows you why the Mence staying in on Slide earlier was a really bad play. It didn't seem justified at all. Don't think Reggie can do too much to meta, so there wasn't too much reason not to go to it, in my opinion. So Welliou does just let the meta go, and I presume we're going to see the last here. It is Tar, and Dex is actually going to mash right into it, so it looks as though Welliou is going to take this game. Yeah, I presume it was Lum then if it was not gaining an item. That's I was really hoping, to be honest, that it was going to be Lum, that it was going to be Leiji, just to see an Agilagro sweep, but no, it seems to be that Dekzeh had absolutely nothing to hit Tar with better than that, and if I know the team well, there's like a bit of moderate bulk on that Tar, like not too much, but enough to live a match pretty easily. Jolt here is going to finish off that game 1. It's funny that that Dekzeh, that Welliou brought a team versus Dekzeh that he's known for using himself. So Well gets the better of Dekzeh here, and game 1 goes to him. Let's see in the next game, can Dekzeh bring it back and bring it to a game 3? Find out. So game 2 has just started here between Dekzeh and Well. So immediately we're going to see a Zap on Meta lead. Meta stays in and goes for slide that does 96, so that's probably a CB, but he doesn't kill. Whether that's because of bad EVs on one side or because because it was a bad roll, who knows. It definitely is a roll to kill with slide, but either way I don't really like turn 1 slide as a play for Welliou here. Zap is obviously very low, but if it's not dead then it's still incredibly dangerous, and he has lost half health on meta here, so immediately Dekzeh in an advantageous position. When you see Pert come in on Zap like that immediately, it's often because the user doesn't have a better special pivot to Zap at all, like Lax, Bliss, whatever. So that might say something about Welliou's team. So that means I think that Deck should be quite conservative about his Zapdos, because it's probably going to be quite good in this game. The fact that Welliou immediately went to Pert probably means that he's not too solid versus Zapdos. Tar is going to come in here on Gar. We're going to see what set this Tar is. Gar stays in for HP Grass. That looks to be modest. Pursuit doing a big 66, yeah, so that's modest max special attack Gar. Or very, very highly invested special attack, at least, we know that much. Well, I'm not sure if it's modest. I guess the Tar might not be incredibly bulky, but I'd wager it is modest. Well, it does just opt to stay in here and put the Tar on its deathbed, but Dekzeh has a Pursuit Tower for a reason, and it's an enabler for threats that don't deal too well with Gar. So this is definitely a positive trade for Dekzeh, getting rid of Gar, a mon that his team just did not want to see. So yeah, big turn for him. Probably running black glasses if he's doing that much to Gar, and if he's not getting an item. If he's not getting lefties, rather. So the item that Tar's running is probably black glasses. Black glasses, ugh. Yeah, so Mens comes out here. We're going to see what set it is. Gara is the primary check for deck here, of course. And we see a hidden power, so it's probably, it could easily be a DD Mens of some kind. Moves unknown, but could easily be a standard set. Looks to be Adamant, max attack. Doing a lot to Gara, 33 after, 34 after an Intimidate is a decent chunk. Gyarados without bulk kind of significantly loses its potency. It doesn't really wall things as well anymore. It doesn't really have a good chance to sweep if it's not capable of taking a couple of hits first. Gara, unlike other sweepers, kind of usually needs to take 1 or 2 dances before it can actually start doing real damage. Pert, the initial switch in for Well, which is kind of, it's interesting. If you're immediately switching Pert in again, are you pivoting again to something else, or are you actually happy to exchange? So we'll see how this Pert deals with Gara. Dekzeh does just T-Wave again into the Pert, predicting that switch that we were talking about, but doesn't hit anything with it. Now he's going to go flying. That's Adamant Gara for sure with that damage. Does 39% and eats a Hydro Pump for his troubles. It's now within one hit of Pert, but the question is, does Well want to keep the integrity of his Pert? Does he want to keep Pert in high health? Probably doesn't need to, given the fact that the tower on Dekzeh's team is special. So Dekzeh will undeniably not have any major rock threats here. So Pert's usage probably isn't quite what it was before. Obviously still could have like a DD Mance or something, but yeah, Pert's not as important, so Well is happy to stay in. Dekzeh makes 2 over predictions, 1 T-Wave and 1 DD, both incorrect plays there, based on how that transpired. Might be getting a little kind of antsy, a little anxious. So we're going to see a hidden power here into Raikou. Raikou takes it pretty well, pretty bulky Mon, but what does Dek have to answer that? Raikou is seemingly a massive threat here. Tar's on its deathbed, Zap's at 16. Not looking good for Dekzeh, to be honest. Be interesting to see what he has to counter this. Well's team is very interesting to me. It's some sort of special offense with DD Mance there at the end. The Raikou could easily be a rest set too. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like that rest ice set. Dekzeh should definitely be in calc anyway and just checking to see if hidden power is doing as much damage as it's supposed to if that zap is offensive. I think 24 though is a decent chunk, so it probably is just an offensive Raikou. Well does now advance though to 5-4, so advantage definitely, ball definitely in his court. Do remember though that the meta here is on 47, Pert's on 61. Everything else remains pretty okay. Dekzeh seems to be really kind of taking his time again. This could be him not having a good answer to Q. The same way the last game took him a long time to find a switch into Starmie because he just didn't have an answer. Raikou could be trouble here. Could be trouble. Dekzeh makes these teams with... they're just kind of weird, janky, thrown together. These are my favorite Mons type teams. And Welliou could easily kind of exploit that here with a Q weakness. We'll see Dekzeh running down the clock here, 90 seconds left. So Lax, he does have Lax, but it's not gaining lefty, so this could be a number of things. It could be Resto Chesto, it could be CB, could be Lum, the Smurfer set. It's gonna be really hard to know. He does just EQ here into Pert and does 57, so that's CB Lax. Activates the Salic Berry of Pert, which is something he did not want to do, and now this Lax is going to exchange itself completely with the Swampert. Dekzeh really had no better switching to that endeavor, so he was forced to sack the 100% Lax. Now meta is going to come out. So meta here for Dekzeh is pretty good. It doesn't seem as though Well has that much to switch into it. Losing Raikou would be pretty bad because it's probably going to be good versus the last Mon just based on the nature of Dekzeh's team. And Welliou here is going to get a huge prediction right. He actually stays in and T-bolts here, and Dekzeh over predicts. He goes for the Meteor Mash, but he's now got the attack raise and he's got the speed boost. Metagross hits 393 at +1 if it's Jolly. So this meta is now outspeeding and sweeping which is what it seems, just like it did last game. So we'll see again, just like the last game. Does Welliou have a last that's capable of taking a hit from this? Mence may live one, which is worth noting. He may live a +1 mash. We're going to see him come out. I'm not sure what the role is, but it's tough to say. I know the Adamant variant always kills. I'm not sure about the Jolly one. This is the equivalent of a choice band Jolly meta, so yeah. Dekzeh says, what's the last he should know? Should know what the last is. I don't know, is Welliou using Dekzeh's own teams versus him or something? I'm not sure. As for Dekzeh last, another rock resist of sorts maybe. So maybe a Swampert or something like that. Dekzeh taking his time here. Not sure if he wants to boom or mash. Maybe he decides to boom. So mash seemingly didn't Oko then, and he didn't want to go for it in case he missed. So he's happy to just go 2 versus 2 here, unrevealed versus unrevealed. It's gonna be a decent amount of variance in this, and Dekzeh's last is revealed to be Flygon. Wow, so that's an interesting team to run Flygon on. Seems very Skarm weak, and it's CB Gon, so Gon is just gonna sweep here. Wow, it's gonna kill the CB Gross as well. That's an interesting team from Dekzeh. I would not have predicted Gon last there. But yeah, Dekzeh here is going to take the game 2. So we're going to go to a game 3. That was huge. Yeah, that meta again. Dekzeh saving himself with those weird speed boosting metas that are really seeming to hack through Welliou's team. He seems to have done the right kind of prep. Yeah, so it was kind of like a bulky offense from Dek. Seems very Skarm weak. Very lucky Well didn't bring spikes game 2 here. And Well seems to have brought his own janky squad of sorts. Raikou, Mance. That tower was possibly DD. Yeah, maybe in DD tower. Yeah, fun game. I really enjoyed that one. I can't wait to see who wins it, and it's going to happen right here live. And I don't want to miss it. Is this the 3rd game? Here it is. Alright, so this is game 3. Score going into this is 1-1, as we know. Dekzeh leading Glalie and Well leading Celebi. Right, so there's a couple of things you can tell from the offset. If you're leading Celebi, it's probably a sub pass set, or it doesn't have to be, but that's what you generally assume. So probably Leech Seed is its only move that's capable of actually damaging its opponent. Probably has a mag in the back. Could also be SD pass or something like that, but it's probably sub pass if he's leading it. Deck here running Glalie. Glalie in advanced does actually have a niche. It has taunt and spikes, so it's probably just going to fire off a free spike here. Of course, having Stab, Ice Beam, and Boom are also pretty redeeming factors as well, when you consider that it is Sand Weak and quite frail. I'm going to see Molt come out here now on meta. Meta going to be prompted to switch regardless, unless it's got Spadef investment, so this is basically a free wisp for Molt if he wants to go for it. Alternatively, he could, try to get up more spikes or whatever, but yeah, we'll see. So P2, the Molt counter, well, does not look to have amazing counters to Moltres. P2 seems like a fairly desperate mon to switch in there. Molt looks like it's going to have a bit of a fun time this game. Well's team almost definitely has mag, so the fact that Dex has got Glalie is really problematic for him, because Glalie cannot be trapped by mag. So getting the 3 layers off here is going to be quite doable for Dekzeh, and yeah, if he can do that, this looks to be quite a grounded, balanced kind of mag offense team. And if that is the case, Well's in a lot of trouble here. Knowing that one of Mel's last 3 is mag, he could easily justify running a Gyarados or something like that. The reason for that is Celebi could be an SD pass set, so SD pass 2 is probably, I'd wager the meta is, I'd say it's Agila Lum or Agila Laichi. So yeah, the fact that it wasn't getting leftovers does not necessarily mean that it's choice banned. That crit did 58, so if we take that to be the same amount that the next one is going to do, it does about 29, so Lax is out of range here. Dekzeh is going to be prompted to switch. And you see Doug come in hard on the Lax. Dekzeh happy to sack that Doug because P2 is on his opponent's side. That Lax was pretty low, and it got rid of a full health Doug. Dekzeh pretty much sacking the Doug, deciding to himself that basically that it's not a huge problem. Well, going to bring in P2 now. Does it even need a flamethrower? It probably does, but he's going to be prompted to recover either way. Dekzeh, we're going to see more about his team here. Looks like the type of team that could have a Gengar. Yeah, I could justify running a Gengar on that team. The lasts for Well are probably a bit more interesting. I'd say he could have a Milo in there. Also could have a Gyarados. Would have great synergy with meta if he did. But I'd wager Milo Mag, something like that. Maybe, yeah, Milo Mag. Dekzeh reveals here that his Lax has Fire Blast. Fire Blast isn't like a meme. It's actually pretty decent. It has a niche. Not great versus Gengar, but hits Skarm really hard, hits meta hard. Yeah, it's an okay move on Lax. It's not terrible. Not exactly the most popular set, but Dekzeh is not one for going for the most popular sets. So we see that this P2 is basically just sitting in on Lax. It's going to be forced to switch. Dekzeh Fire Blasted on the off chance that Well doubled out to meta, but Well was not having any of that. He's probably scouting the Lax set a bit, wants to know a bit more about it. Again though, there's no switch-ins to Moltres at all on Dekzeh's team, or on Welliou's team. So yeah, Dekzeh is going to be able to consistently abuse that. In regards to there being a potential Milo here, maybe Well would already have gone to it, because Moltres came out a few times earlier, so, and he didn't exploit that, so probably unlikely he does have a Milo. It would also kind of not help him with the physical offense that he's trying to run on this team. Usually these types of teams are the type of teams that enable good physical offense, so I'm thinking last maybe Mag, Gyarados, something like that, to give you an airborne mon. So Dekzeh does Curse here. Curse Fire Blast is the set. Does have good surprise value. On paper, obviously, that looks ridiculous, but it has good surprise value. UD's pretty fun, that set, I think. So a bit of a stalemate here. Both deciding do they want to stay in. Dek could easily just switch out to Moltres here, but he goes Coon, probably fearing Boom from Metagross. Knows how important Moltres is in this game and doesn't want to give it up, so it goes straight to Coon here. I really don't think that Well has good switch-ins for Coon, especially if this is like an offensive CM set. So he might just have to trade here by booming with meta, which is, yeah, it's probably the best he can do here. Last for Dekzeh is probably another Rock Resist, so it could easily be another Flygon. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell, really. Could still be a Gengar, though. It's just impossible to know with Dekzeh. I don't understand the way his head works. The way he puts teams together, they always just seem so ridiculous. But he makes them work. So we do see the Mag that we knew was here from earlier. There's just no way you would be running Lead Celebi without it, and that team is very indicative of Mag, especially the double, the Fizz meta, Fizz Lax, both benefit greatly from Mag. It is worth knowing that at the present time, Moltres does OHKO everything on this squad. Outspeeds and OHKOs everything on this squad. After P2 takes the burn and spikes, it's probably in range. Meta is easily in range. Celebi's not going to be doing anything. And Mag is outsped. It is probably, based on that damage from T-Bolt, it is probably Magnet. It's doing 34, so that's probably a Magnet Mag. Lax does just out for the body slam here to get rid of Mag. So you would probably just presume that Welliou just brings in meta here. Seems fairly riskless. Dekzeh doesn't really have any good switch-ins to it, so he may just be forced to sack the Lax if that happens. The last for Well is still kind of making me scratch my head. I'm not sure what it is. So it's Hera. And this could easily be a Salic variant. It isn't gaining lefties, so it could easily be sub-Salic. Maybe trying to go off Lax getting paralyzed here. Dekzeh very intelligently booms right into the Hera. It doesn't want to play those games. And this may be the end of the game. It just doesn't seem as though there's anything on Well's team that switches into Moltres. Regardless of whether or not P2 lives when it comes in, Welliou is going to have to sack something here. Now, it's probably too late for Celebi to do much, but then again, Meta's not getting lefties, could easily sack one of those two. Hera is probably not going to be sacked because Sub-Salic Hera can just really pull games back. Keep in mind, Sub-Salic Hera outspeeds everything in the tier once it gets its +1 speed boost, and it will Oko Moltres with Slide. And if he manages to get an SD off, or he manages to chip Kuhn, he'll be able to get it with the Swarm boosted Mega Horn as well. So this Heracross is still lethal. This is a good path to success for Well. This is definitely going to be his saving grace here if he can manage to bring this game back. But he's probably going to sack. Yeah, he sacks the Metagross here. Celebi probably not running as passive a set as I said earlier, if he decided not to sack it there. But the game really rests on whether or not P2 lives this, and I don't even think he does. If this is Modest Molt, it's gonna KO here surely. We'll see. P2s do run max HP, so they can take hits pretty decently, and so the roll actually isn't in Dekzeh's favor there. He's not confident that it kills. If this wasn't a narration, I would have been able to look up how much it was going to do there in the calc, but alas, I don't have that privilege. Regardless, though, every time Moltres comes in, it's going to be extremely dangerous. Very interested as to what that Celebi set is. The fact that he didn't go to it, the fact that he didn't sack it there and sacked Meta instead is insane to me. If this Celebi is the set that I think it is, I just think this is a speedy Leech Seed set. It is fast. It's faster than offensive Kuhn here, so it's a fast Celebi. Unless, well, I suppose we don't know what speed the Kuhn is, but yeah. So it is SD pass. Thing is though, how are you going to pass it? Hera does not live a +1 Ice Beam from 59 minus 18. So this Celebi is probably just a sack here, to be honest. Kuhn is going to win this 1v1. Welliou opts to go for the hidden power here. Dekzeh wasn't confident that the +1 Ice Beam kill from there, but I'm pretty sure it does. So I don't know why he didn't go for the Ice Beam. Goes for Surf. Welliou does not seem to have recovery of any kind, so it's just going to take the chip here. If Welliou this is not good for Dekzeh, to be honest. Getting this Kuhn chipped is really bad because it puts it in range of Sub-Salic Hera, which will be getting activated if Well goes to Hera here first to get it chipped a bit and then switches it out and brings it back in again. it'll come back in its Salic range, and it'll be extremely dangerous then. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for Ice Beam there. Well's looking really, he's running really close to the clock time here. Has 15 seconds left on the clock there. So does this Hera get into Salic range? I don't know if it does. He is just going to sub to it though. And so we're going to see the Salic come up. So Molt does not beat a Salic Hera. It has Rock Slide, which will KO. And Kuhn will go down here to the Swarm Boosted Mega Horn. So the last is really going to be, wow, okay, that's interesting. The last is a Hera of Dekzeh's own. I'm not sure how much Mega Horn does to opposing Hera. I think it does something like 60 with Swarm Boost or something like that. It does a pretty decent amount. But Welliou is definitely going to need a Rock Slide flinch or 2 here. I think 2 will do it. Goes for the flinch, does 39%, does not get it. That Hera probably would have been in range after. Yeah, and this Hera is not getting lefties, so going to be able to sub down to a Salic of its own. Well makes the horrible mistake here of going T-Wave. That was not a smart move, and now he's going to lose the Porygon too. This game goes to Dekzeh. Yeah, just overwhelmed Welliou there with the offense. Had a Hera of his own, which was exactly what I needed in that last slot. Welliou would have needed some Mega Horn misses there, and even then I still think that it may have eventually gone into range where Moltres was going to be able to take it, so that ending looked pretty unlosable for Dekzeh right there. So Dekzeh, who came off what many people believe to be a very lucky round 1 victory, now goes ahead and wins round 2. So he's absolutely proving that he deserves to be here. You may have had your suspicions. You may have been slightly unconvinced after his round 1, but he is definitely making a name for himself again, showing the persona that we all know him to be capable of. So Dekzeh takes the series here. Commiserations to Well. Thought he played really well throughout the series. Pardon the pun. No, but he just kind of got. This game was a bit unlucky with matchup for sure. Didn't get to trap the Spiker with Mag, and then was forced to just sack something every time Moltres came in. Did get his lax crit as well, which was definitely relevant. Probably wasn't too happy about that, but I think that the deserving player won here. Dekzeh pulled off a fantastic victory. Despite taking an L round 1, game 1, he pulled this back insanely and came out on top. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed that series as much as I did, and sure to see you again in the next one.